Yes, I brought it back. So, like last time, I think it was like 2 months ago. Last time I ended up on the what you call it, the battle trial arc. So I'm doing this without a script, but it's still gonna be like 20 minutes long because reasons. Anyways, let's get on to it. All right. So hold up. When we last left off, Deku single handedly managed to defeat both Bakugo and Todoroki. Remember, in this version, Todoroki is also a female. Now that that was over, everyone was incredibly impressed by Izuku's quirk and his strength, of course. The amount of strength that Deku had in order to defeat two students single handedly in combat was simply amazing to them, especially since these students seem to be some of the best already, some of the strongest. And this ended up affecting all of the rest of the battles to come because everyone felt they had to at least try and make up. I don't know how to describe it, but essentially trying to at least hold a candle to what was just presented to them. The next day, Aizawa walks into the class mentioning how, okay, we also have to do another thing. We actually have to. This is actually something incredibly important. The students, once they heard this, their hearts started pounding because they were thinking back to the first day of school, where Aizawa literally expelled one of the students on the first day because they weren't able to do as well as the others. They ended up getting last place, actually. So they were wondering, is he going to do another stunt like that again, where if they fail, they're going to get expelled? But all of them breathe a sigh of relief once Aizawa states that they are going to be selecting class rep. As soon as everybody hears this, what ends up happening is that everybody, well, mainly everybody, literally jumps out of their seats, raising their hands, saying that they want to be class rep. But of course, Ida Ida actually stops everybody, telling them that they need to do it in a better fashion than the way they are doing it now. They can do it through votes instead. Suyu mentions how that's not a very great idea because of the fact that, well, it's only like they're only in like their first year, not first year, but like they barely even know each other. And so that would mean you couldn't really make really good votes just by that. But Ida points out that, well, because of the fact that they don't really know each other that well, means that there won't be much bias in the votes. Hearing this, everybody accepts Ida's reasoning and everybody votes, and just like in canon, Izuku ends up winning class rep. This time around, though, he has a couple more votes than in canon. He actually has like 7. So that's a decent amount of class that voted for him. Everyone else gets the same amount of votes as in canon, besides the few others that voted for Izuku because, well, in this canon they didn't vote for themselves. Most of the things actually stick to canon here, besides, no, even that. Even with the whole, what do you call it again? Even with the whole incident where it seemed that reporters broke into UA, and that still happens as in canon. The only difference here is that Izuku probably isn't crushed by some of the other students here. He actually freezes everybody's legs because he has an ice quirk in this canon. And he informs everyone that, well, you see, what ended up happening is that the reporters actually broke into UA. And there was no villains or anything. That was pretty much it. But Izuku is still suspicious here. When everybody gets back to class, instead of Ida becoming class rep in this canon, Izuku decides to keep the role because Ida never actually had the chance to really stand out at that moment, becoming known as like some sort of traffic sign or something. But everybody accepts Izuku as a class rep besides, of course, Bakugo. And that's about it, really. And the video, I'm just kidding. That's a terrible joke. But what ends up happening afterwards is that Aizawa goes back to sleep, and then the next day after that, they go to USJ. While everybody's on the bus going to the USJ, some of the students are actually sitting around Deku, wondering about his quirk. Some of them mention how his quirk seems incredibly powerful. They even start to wonder if he's related to any pro heroes due to just how powerful this quirk is. Izuku thinks that, no. He's not related to any pro heroes. None directly, that is. None like parents, cousins, uncles, aunties. None of those. Especially blood related. No, blood related. But those kind. But anyways, everybody just praises Izuku though because of just how amazing his quirk is. He just has such an awesome ability. He has such an awesome quirk. Although some do mention how the Todoroki girl, Shoto Todoroki, yes, her name shall still be Shoto Todoroki in this canon because I'm lazy in naming people. Unless you guys can tell me in the comments below what Shoto's name should be in this canon. But some people mention how Todoroki, she has an ice quirk as well. But she seems to only be able to generate it on like one side of her body. And then they start to also think about the name as well, Todoroki. Then people really start to think about it and realize, wait a minute, Todoroki, are you possibly related to Endeavor? Of course, when people hear this, they flip because Todoroki is the daughter of the number 2 hero who wouldn't lose their marbles here and that. It's basically like this. It's basically like you're in high school, you feel me? And you meet this one girl who's in your class, and it turns out that, well, she is related to, not just related to, but she is the daughter of Kanye West. I shouldn't have said that. I really should not have said that, but okay. But naturally, most people would probably lose their minds hearing this. You're related to a celebrity. That's essentially what's happening here. But then they start to really think about it and realize that, hey, if that's the case, then does that mean you also have like a fire side as well? You have an ice quake, but is that really all to your quake? Todoroki does comment a little about how, yeah, she does have a fire side as well, but she refuses to use it. And she just zips her mouth right after that, not even going into any explanation as to why. Nobody really decides to bother her because of that cold glare that she gives to people that try and look too much into it. So they decide to leave her be. But when it comes on to Izuku now, people just flutter around him asking him more questions about his quirk. What can he do? What can he not do? Because they saw him. They saw him at the battle trial. they saw him literally absorb Todoroki's ice. So they're wondering, okay, so what else can you do? You're able to absorb ice. You're able to create ice. You're able to make weapons out of this ice. What can you not do, bro? Even what was his name again? Even Kirishima is like, bro, what can you not do? You are an incredibly manly guy with that quirk of yours. Before the rest of the students can even get to ask more questions and have Izuku answer these questions, Aizawa is like, you know what? Nah, we're done here. You guys are annoying. You guys are annoying me. We're putting an end to this. Besides, we're at the USJ right now. Universal Studios Japan. No, I'm kidding. The unforeseen simulation joint. But basically, I keep on saying basically. I need to stop that. So after that, I also need to stop that. After that, we have 13 give the introduction, the same as in canon. But as soon as they hear Shigaraki's voice, as soon as you see that warp gate open up, revealing Shigaraki and the rest of the villains, everybody immediately jumps, finding out that they're real villains, not just some fake villains. Some people pay to act like real villains because, well, what you call it? UA has money like that. UA has big pockets, but I sound very ghetto in this episode. But how should I say it? Yes, that's exactly what happened though. At first, people were thinking that it was just, some fake villains, but no. Once Aizawa literally says that, well, no, these are actually real villains. Watch out. Stay clear of them. Stay behind me. Of course, nobody listens to Aizawa. They kind of freak out at first, but then they go charging in and trying to help Aizawa in his fight. Because, well, they only know that Aizawa is able to temporarily erase people's quirks. But this is the first time they actually see Aizawa really fight. They didn't know that Aizawa could really fight like that. And they're all amazed to see Aizawa really take on so many villains at once, being able to subdue so many of these guys. Aizawa even comments on how these are just low-life thugs. These guys aren't really much of a challenge for him. But Katsuki Bakugo, his hot-headed temper ends up getting a lot of the students in some trouble because, 13 tries to subdue Kuroguri using her quirk, Black Hole, which is a very powerful quirk. I don't know how she's so low. Hold on. They literally nerfed her in the very same saga. Talking about, she's not immune to her own black holes. Okay. But back to what I was saying though. Because of Bakugo, a lot of the students ended up trying to fight Kuroguri and the rest of the villains, but they were not so good at that. They were actually pretty bad at this because this was their very first time really fighting off villains. So really, the reason why I say that they were kind of bad at this was because Kuroguri was able to still wipe them over to all these different zones in the USJ. Izuku still ends up going to that flooded zone, that water zone. I forgot the name of it. But instead of what he did in canon, where he was like literally just screaming, wondering what was he going to do, he literally just freezes the whole ocean, the whole lake, whatever you want to call it, that whole zone. Everything is literally frozen. All of those villains that were in the water, yeah, they're frozen in the water as well. So, and thankfully, Suyu, she was already able to jump out of the water and grab Izuku, but he had already frozen. He had already frozen the whole lake. So they ended up jumping onto the ship, wondering, okay, what exactly are we going to do? Izuku, first off, literally just shoots several ice shards at the villains, which seriously wounds a whole lot of them, because of the fact that, well, they're stuck in a frozen lake. They cannot move, and they can actually die here because of hypothermia or frostbite. I don't know which term to use here, but yes, that's pretty much what was going to happen if Izuku did not release them. Izuku, instead of releasing them though, at least quickly, he literally starts interrogating them, wondering, okay, what are you villains doing here at the USJ? Why are you here? How did you find out that we were going to the USJ? What are your intentions here? And if you do not tell us, we are going to let you die here. Izuku is quite a bit of a sadist here. I think you've been able to get that in the last couple of episodes or parts, I guess. But these villains at first they don't want to say anything, but Izuku decides to turn his back on them. Once they realize that Izuku is about to leave, and the only chance of being freed is going to be non-existent, and they'll most likely die here. They start confessing. They literally just admit everything. They're talking about even what they've done in the past. Once Suzuku is able to gather that, number one, they have this sort of thing that's able to take on All Might. Number two, they plan on killing All Might here. He's wondering how. These guys, they don't actually know though. All they know is that for some reason, this Shigaraki character, the guy with the multiple hands on his body, pause. He was able to convince them, talking about how, oh, we have this great thing that we've created in order to fight All Might. Izuku wants to know more, but they don't know. That's all they know. So Izuku is like, you know what? Fine, you guys can go. Get out of here. I don't care. Once he frees them, they all try and attack Izuku, but Izuku literally just freezes them all in place because... No, not freezes them all in place. He creates an ice barrier. And it throws... And literally shoots a whole bunch of ice shards at them. And before they are sent back into the ocean, which he freezes again. And this time for good. Because he's not going to deal with these villains again. That's all he had to do. That's pretty much all. Afterwards, Suyu tries to convince Izuku that what he's doing is not that great of an idea. That's not what a hero should do. Leaving villains to die here. But Izuku ignores her, he just shrugs her off, and then looks to try and help Aizawa. But Suyu pulls him back and telling him that that's not a great idea either, mentioning how some of these villains you do not want to fight, basically. Izuku listens to her this time around and agrees that, yeah, it's probably best to stay in hiding for now. But this is when Shigaraki pops up. He realizes that the two were hiding from him, the Nomu and Kurogiri, and literally tries to launch himself at at Tsuyu, thinking, okay, I'm going to at least get one death here. I'm going to at least kill one of these brats today. Because of the fact that All Might wasn't here. And number two, these one of these brats actually got away, so he's going to be recruiting a whole bunch of other heroes. So it's best that he probably should get at least one death here. At least get something. Make this worthwhile. But of course, your boy Aizawa, the most dangerous hero if he was given a weapon. He actually erases Shigaraki's quirk right before he is able to touch Tsuyu with all 5 of his fingers. Once Shigaraki realizes that, Aizawa erased his quirk, he literally looks back at Aizawa, mentioning how cool he was. Once Izuku heard this, Izuku was like, alright, since you want to say that, let me tell you this, sir. Let me tell you this. I am actually even cooler. I had to. I'm sorry. He grabs Shigaraki's arm this time and freezes it. He captures it in a whole case of ice and breaks the ice. What do I mean by this? He literally destroyed Shigaraki's arm. Shigaraki's arm broke off from that encasement of ice. And Shigaraki is grabbing his arm, his stub of an arm now, in pain. Tsuyu is looking at Izuku in fear, especially with Izuku's face, that sadistic face of Izuku's. He actually goes on and tries to fight Shigaraki, but the Nomu gets in his way. Izuku freezes the Nomu entirely, but unlike, I don't know how to say it, but the Nomu was able to break out of Izuku's eyes, although quite injured, because he had to literally break off most of his body. I'm going to say that, no, I'm not going to say that Izuku was able to freeze literally all of the Nomu. I'm going to say that Izuku was able to encase 2/3 of the Nomu. Yes. Unlike Todoroki, who was able to encase half. He was able to use both of his hands and grab the Nomu and actually freeze it. And literally, the middle part of the Nomu was all that was left of it, but it managed to regenerate. I'm going to say that its regeneration was that good, but it was getting more on the sluggish side. Once Shigaraki is starting to realize this, he's like, no, this is not possible. Some brat from UA should not be able to take on my Nomu, the one that was literally designed to fight All Might. But Izuku, he is punched away at the end though. Unfortunately. Izuku then sees Shigaraki grab Tsuyu's throat. And this time though, Aizawa, he was not able to catch them in time. He was not able to glance at Shigaraki quick enough this time around and erase his quirk. Izuku, in a moment of desperation, as something suddenly happens, he tries and reach out for Tsuyu, trying to stop Shigaraki. He's wishing for time to just freeze for a second. And then all of a sudden, It seems like time was frozen in place. Azuku starts running and punches. He punches Shigaraki in the gut, and sending him flying away. Sending him flying to the normal. But Shigaraki's not moving though. He realizes that nobody's actually moving. He looks at Tsuyu's face. Her face is in shock, but he's waving his hand around at her, but her eyes aren't moving. He looks around and realizes, hold on. Did time actually freeze? Is that another one of my abilities? Is that another thing that I can do? All of a sudden, when Izuku realizes this though, he faints. And that's how I'm going to be ending this episode, or this part. So, there is a reason why I kept... I know that, well... How long is this now? Shoot. Yes, I am aware that... Esdeath was able to freeze time. I purposely left that out for so long. For 4 parts. For a reason. But now that it's been revealed, your boy King Time X out. Peace out, Time Clan. King Time X out. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. Also comment. No, I messed it up. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Or just subscribe and comment and like. And that's pretty much it. King Time X out. Officially this time around.